Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. I have to bring the intro back for you guys. I know so many people have been asking for it. And also, don't mind me. I know I got rocking the nose strip today. I was recording videos earlier and I could not breathe at all. Like I was starting to get a little bit lightheaded and it like ruins my energy and my mood and stuff. So had to throw on the breathe right strip. My nose, breathing, everything all messed up. But this like helps me out so much, so I can actually get through this video. We did cover a little bit of positive news, a little bit of good news yesterday for G2. Some LEC fans, some G2 fans, but unfortunately today we are back with some bad news that I think is going to have some people are not going to see it as that bad news. Some of the people just kind of see, you know, that's just the way the world is at this point. But some people are definitely going to be frustrated and disheartened and just kind of overall upset about this news. Even if you do understand, it just kind of sucks. So we'll be getting into that in this video today. Definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content, and consider checking out my new merch. It's going to be in the first link in the description below, and it should be below the description with like some panels and stuff kind of showcasing it. Kind of cool. You know, you get something in return for helping support my content and my channel, which is just absolutely awesome. With that being said, let's get right into this. So obviously the bad news coming out today, this is from the LEC on Twitter. Important update about the LEC, and they say kind of the news that, again, not super shocking at this point. I'm sure a lot of people were kind of expecting it, but you know, it's never fun to see. The players, fans, everyone's super disappointed. Due to the ongoing restrictions as a result of COVID-19 and the rising number of cases in Berlin since the beginning of the year, teams will compete remotely for the start of the 2022 Spring Split regular season. Our first and foremost priority is always the health and well-being of our players, coaches, team personnel, and our staff. To achieve that and ensure the continuity of the league itself, teams will compete from their own training facilities for the beginning of the split. We will continue to assess the COVID-19 situation on a weekly basis and hope to welcome players back to the studio as soon as it is safe to do. So, one question I have from this whole thing, does this mean it's still going to be broadcast from the studio? You know, when I read this, my understanding is that things will still be broadcast from the studio, which is good because, like, for me, remote broadcast with the players remote is just absolutely terrible. It's like almost an unwatchable viewing experience. I mean, we saw what the LCS was doing this past season when they had that, you know, people like casting the games out of their bedrooms and stuff. Like, the quality is horrible. Yeah, it doesn't take away from the games that much. The games are still mostly fine, but definitely kills a lot of the hype, a lot of the excitement, and overall the production value. Just makes it seem really lackluster, even to longtime fans, but especially to like new fans. I cannot even imagine. You know, it just has to be such a bad first impression. But it does seem like, at least to me here, that the broadcast will still be in the LEC studio, which if that's the case, you know, that's kind of somewhat okay. But man, not having the players in the studio as well, that kind of sucks. Like, obviously, way up here is fans, players, and the broadcast all in the studio. That is amazing. Like, to me, the League of Legends experience with fans in attendance is like as exciting and as fun and as cool as anything that I've ever seen. You know, I've been to some in-person events and I've been to sporting events as well, and like League of Legends in person is just so crazy. And even when you're watching on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, being able to hear the crowd, hear the chants, see the players reacting to the crowd, see the crowd reacting to the players, it adds to the whole experience. Not only for the fans, making, you know, me want to watch more and me being more engaged in all the storylines and everything, but you can also tell the effect it has on the broadcast talent and the players as well. So many players have talked about how it's just not the same without the fans there, without being in the studio. You know, even people that are like winning championships, like TSM when they won their trophy last year, and some of the teams winning their championships over the last couple of years, just say it feels different. It feels way worse. It's almost not worth playing, which is crazy to hear some players say. But that's definitely been something that's been said and going on. But with all that being said, obviously, we would love for all that to happen. And I'm all in favor for getting people in the studio, not only players, but fans as well. And one reason why I've been so critical about the LCS, especially because they've been, you know, more strict than even the LEC has been, is because right now, all around the world, we talk about this in every video, but all around the world, there are events selling out hundreds of thousands of people. There's NFL games in the United States going on every weekend. 16 NFL games every weekend where the crowds are ranging from 70,000 to 100,000 people. And those events are mostly going off without a hitch. Yes, every once in a while does a player get sick? Yes, of course. But when you think of all the hundreds and thousands of players that are playing every weekend, it is such a small amount. You have other things like the NBA, you have the UFC, you have all of these different kind of franchises and everything selling out thousands and thousands of people. And for the LEC and LCS, you're talking about hundreds of people being in the studio every week. If they wanted to, they could have an audience of just vaccinated fans, with vaccinated players, vaccinated staff, all of that. They could, even if you didn't want to have vaccinated people, you could have COVID testing set up at the LCS and LEC and only be letting in people that are having negative COVID tests right there. And again, would that eliminate all the spread of COVID? Absolutely not, but it would go, such a long way. It could potentially, eliminate 90, 95, 99% plus of the spread of COVID at these events. And guess what? These same players that you are not even letting attend the studio because they might get each other sick or whatever, these players are not just going home and completely self-isolating. These players are going out in the world and still living their lives. These guys are going to the gym. These guys are going to restaurants. These guys are doing all different kinds of stuff. So much of this is all about optics. It's just like looking like we're doing something. It's not actually doing something. These LEC players, these people in Berlin, they are not quarantining. Now, maybe some of them are, maybe some players are, maybe some teams are, but 100% of the players in the LEC or the LCS or whatever are absolutely not quarantining. Now, at the same time, I do understand this to an extent because especially in the United States, I don't necessarily know what things are like in Berlin or internationally or whatever. I only know where I live. In the United States, we are seeing record number of cases because this Omicron variant, for whatever reason, just seems so contagious and it seems like everybody's getting it, everybody's getting sick. But we're not seeing record number of hospitalizations. We're not seeing record number of deaths, as far as I've seen or I know. It's not like this thing is going absolutely crazy. Yes, we just had the holiday season and we're seeing a really, really contagious strain. But before then, when all these NFL and NBA and stuff events were going on, it's not like we were seeing those events be super spreader events or anything, and that everyone who's going to a basketball game or a football game or a soccer game or whatever was getting sick and that people were dying, yada, yada, yada. Like, no. That was not happening. And again, the LCS and LEC are a blip on the radar of the NFL or a blip on the radar of the UFC. We're talking about a much more controlled environment where these events could absolutely be going on right now, even these next coming weekends, with fans in attendance, let alone the players in studio with no fans in attendance. To have the players at home in their facilities and understanding how much that affects the broadcast, it increases pauses, it increases time in between games, and then we even have like this tweet from Carlos where he's talking about, well, rip our internet, where it even affects competitive integrity as well, where we saw different teams having internet issues, connectivity issues, all these different things last year. It takes away from the product in so many different ways, and it's just absolutely unnecessary. I know that somebody replied like, hey, you guys aren't even, trying, and then Chakarez comes in and is like, hey, I'm not part of the broadcast team, but I know they're trying. It's like, no, they're absolutely, maybe they're trying to an extent, and maybe they have to work within, some kind of laws or whatever. But again, when you look at the world around us right now and see everything that's going on much grander scales in competitive League of Legends, to me, it is very disheartening and very frustrating to see the third straight year of the LEC and LCS not being able to do more, and knowing that this absolutely hurts the short-term and long-term growth of competitive League of Legends. It hurts the short-term and long-term growth of the LEC and the LCS, so Western League of Legends and Western esports, and could really be something that sets them back years, if not ends up eventually, potentially leading to their downfall, because right now, esports are still largely unprofitable. We need much more revenue, profit, viewership growth into the future. And getting in person goes a long way with creating new fans, creating excitement, creating a better viewing experience, but also getting back on the road, going to new cities, doing in-person big events all over the place, creating headlines, creating stories. This is what esport needs. And I get it. It's a crazy time. I get it's a hard time. Yes, it's pandemic, quarantine, all this stuff. But that doesn't mean we can't do more. That doesn't mean we can't do more safely. I'm not saying we should get crazy or ridiculous or unsafe. Be safe. Obviously, I work in the healthcare field. I understand it. I get it. But I do think it is time that hopefully we get things rolling a little bit more. I do like that the LEC is at least saying they're going to take this week by week, you know, and they're going to continue to assess the situation on a weekly basis. I think that's great because oftentimes people just have the knee-jerk reaction of, okay, whole spring split is remote, or, you know, cancel the in-person finals or whatever. So that's cool. They're at least going to take it week by week, and hopefully sooner rather than later we get the players back in the studio, and then sooner rather than later get the fans back. But man, this is bad news from the LEC. This sucks to hear. Even if you're in favor of it, it's still not good, you know, to see an announcement like this being made. But that's pretty much everybody's video today, guys. Tell me, drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. You guys think the LEC is making the right decision? Do you understand? Do you not understand? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.